Hi gang, Wayne McPhail here. I just wanted to show you the Canon Vixia S100 camcorder from Canon. It's the same as the S10 that they've also brought out. The only difference is this camera has just an external slot for SD memory, whereas the S10 has internal 16 gig memory as well. I think this is a better buy simply because it's cheap to buy external flash memory and you can just throw more in as you need it, so that's cool. This is a pretty sweet camera. It has the chip that's used to record the video is a 1.26 inch CMOS chip, and that's the same chip that is on like the GL2 and other higher end Canon cameras. So you're really getting the light gathering power of a consumer camera in a prosumer camera. This uses the Digic DV3 processing. This is relatively new from Canon for processing video images, and that chip has a surface that's recording 8.59 megapixels. Now this records 1080i video, HD video, so you really don't need all those pixels for recording just that HD signal. But clearly what Canon is doing with the Digic 3 processing is interpolating those pixels to give you a reduced noise in low light, and that seems to do a pretty good job of that from what I've seen. It's a very good job from what I've seen so far. But what's really interesting about that chip size with the 8.59 megapixels is that the still images make use of all of those pixels. So you actually have a really good 8 megapixel camera that has all the processing power of the Digic 3 processing for stills, and the stills that I've produced from this have been pretty spectacular in terms of sharpness and in terms of dynamic range, which is really great for this camera. The other thing that's really interesting about this is that the large pixel size allows for a 1.5 teleconverter digitally in this camera. Now normally when you're doing digital zoom you're getting lost because you're using less of the sensor size, but because there's so many extra megapixels on the sensor you can actually go 1.5 times closer without any degradation of image. So you basically have a $200, what would be a $200 teleconverter built into the camera. So it's pretty amazing. Now that doesn't work on stills, it only works when you're shooting video, but it's really handy to have that kind of teleconversion built right in. Now there are additional teleconverters you can build on which would give you 4 or 5 times, but that's pretty amazing to have built in here. So as I said, this is a consumer camera, or just a prosumer really, but it has a really nice bright screen here. It has a variety of settings that you can shoot with, most of which if you're using it for any kind of pro work you're not going to be using at all. But it has really excellent face detection, which is actually very good. It not only spots a face but also tracks a face and can actually track more than one face, and you can pick which face you want the camera to follow, which is pretty nice. It has zebra settings for being able to detect whether something is about to blow out in 100 or 70% zebra setting. It also has a setting that allows you to pick a color to assign to the edges of things so you can see if they're sharp or not. So it's really helpful if you're doing manual focus. Now let's talk about the manual focus, because one of the knocks against some of the Canon cameras in the past has been that there isn't a focus wheel. Some of the Panasonics have a focus wheel that also doubles as you can set your iris and other settings with it. This doesn't have that. Similar to the HV30, which was a film-based camera, which I really like. This has a wheel. Now the wheel on the HV30 I found a little finicky, a little small. This has got a really nice knurled wheel that allows you to control focus or exposure or other things that you can set to determine what you want to shoot here. On the front it's got a 58mm lens, which is really big. Again, it's getting up to the size of GL2 and other pro cameras. Lots of light gathering. There are attachments that can go on the outside here, but it's a big honking lens that sits on the front here, and if I open it up you can see that it opens. It has a self-contained lens cap, which is great and very responsive. If you notice, as soon as I close the door and open the drawer, it's just closing down really quickly, and that's very solid, more solid than on say the HV30 or on the still camera side, this similar kind of control on the G9 or the G10. But I think it's much more solid. You can really sort of press on that where you could really flip the things open on the other cameras. Really nice, as I said, viewfinder. Now there's no optical viewfinder on this, so you have to shoot this way. If you wanted to shoot in sort of stealth mode, you would just flip this around and keep it to the side, and you can still keep shooting, but as soon as you close the lid, it closes down. The microphones on this camera are on the left and right. Now on other Canon cameras like the HG21, for example, the stereo mics sit underneath here. Here they're on the side, so they're sort of like ears. And that's good, I think. So far the reception on this has been excellent. It's great for I like shooting with this camera, talking to subjects, and these mics seem to pick up both my voice and the other voices without peaking, which is really good. It also has on the top here the mini mini hot shoe. Bit of a pain in the ass in the sense that you have to put an adapter on or a bracket on the bottom if you wanted to put a standard Rhodes mic on here. Video mic, but the nice thing about this is if you actually use the standard microphones that plug into this, microphone from Canon that plugs into this, it doesn't require external battery. It's a really nice hot shotgun mic that sits on here, and there's also a couple of Canon lights that sit on here as well. So not that much of a pain in the ass, and this little slider here is much better than on the earlier Canon cameras where you had a little rubber thing that you sort of slid off and went to the side, which was a bit inelegant. In the case of the HG21, it's off to the top, and in the case of the HV30, you go off to the side, which is, neither of those is very good. So overall, I think this is a really nice camera, very nicely built. It's got a really solid feel. There's been some complaints in the reviews about it feeling a bit cheesy. I don't think it does. It's got lots of outs here. You can take out to component, you can take out to HDMI on the side here. It doesn't come with an HDMI cable, which is unfortunate, but I'm going to pick one up for plugging into my external TV. But you can also go out USB, you can go out component as well, and then you have AV capability in the back to listen to the audio, to monitor or to listen later, and you have a microphone plug up here in the front to run an external microphone if you don't use one off the hot shoe. The test video I've shot with this has so far been spectacular. The dynamic range is great. The color saturation is really good. I haven't had to do very much at all to the saturation, which is unusual for video I've seen coming in from camcorders. Even the HV30 I've had to boost the saturation on. This one so far I haven't been able to do that. The other nice things I should mention, just speaking of saturation, is this has a built-in flash as well as a built-in camera light if you need to just do a little bit of fill for interviews with people. When you're shooting in the sort of what used to be on the HG21, the easy mode, if I turn that on and I wanted to take stills with that camera, chances are that the flash would pop up on the side here and I would have the flash come available. So yeah, there we go. So the flash has popped up. And then I can shoot with the flash, and I have a still camera light. So that's really nice. So it's got both the very small LED light for video and also the pop-up flash for still. So it's a pretty capable still camera as well as an excellent camcorder. So so far I'm digging it. So that is again the Canon Vixia HF S100 camcorder from Canon. Hope that was helpful. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.